Good evening and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye. Let's get straight to tonight's bulletin. The Supreme Court, when hearing a case about an illegal demolition, made an observation that was very interesting today. It said, and I quote, do not cite RTI replies. It is not very reliable as per our experience. If the letter ends with some authority, the reply is something completely different. Now, the Supreme Court was hearing an appeal against an order of the Allahabad High Court about a particular demolition in Gorakhpur, where the authorities have allegedly been demolishing homes on private land. Now, the appellate told the court that they have access to an RTI reply in which the development authority had demarcated that particular area in the master plan as residential property. Reacting to this, the bench refused to accept the RTI reply, saying that RTI replies are not reliable. Now, this is particularly worrying because an RTI reply is meant to be a completely honest, reliable reply from a government officer about any question asked of them about workings of the government by a citizen. So, the Supreme Court questioning the reliability of RTI replies, of course, is a fairly worrying thing for our democracy. Now, while dealing with the controversy of the Delhi Assembly Committee summoning Facebook Vice President Ajit Mohan for spreading hate messages during the Delhi riots, the Supreme Court has observed that social media platforms must be more accountable. Now, the court observed, and I quote, entities like Facebook have to remain accountable to those who entrust them with such power. While Facebook has played a crucial role in enabling free speech and providing voice to the voiceless, we cannot lose sight of the fact that it has simultaneously become a platform for disruptive messages, voices, and ideologies. Thus, while social media on one hand is enhancing equal and open dialogue, on the other hand, it has become a tool in the hands of various interest groups who have such vast powers that must necessarily come with responsibility. Effectively, the Supreme Court there is paraphrasing Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Kerala has reported its first case of the Zika virus. Now, this is a mosquito-borne viral infection. A 24-year-old pregnant woman in Thiruvananthapuram was diagnosed with the Zika virus. According to doctors, her condition is now stable. Samples of 13 other people are suspected to be positive of the virus have been sent to the National Institute of Virology in Pune. In the meantime, the centre has sent a 6-member team to Kerala to monitor the Zika virus situation. Symptoms of a Zika virus include fever, skin rashes, conjunctivitis, muscle and joint pain, and headaches. Currently, there are no vaccines or cures for the Zika virus. The first case of this virus was detected in 1947 in Uganda. Outbreaks of Zika have been reported in tropical Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands over various periods of time. Kerala has also been battling COVID and is now reporting the highest number of fresh cases on a daily basis across the country for more than a month now. Bringing you now to our update specifically on COVID. Following the cabinet reshuffle that we brought to you, the Ministry of Health has announced a COVID package of 23,123 crore rupees. This includes the creation of pediatric units in all 736 districts of the country, installation of 1,050 liquid medical oxygen storage tanks with medical gas pipeline systems that will support 1 unit per district, expansion of teleconsultation platform which will offer 5 lakh consultations per day. The package will also support the National Centre for Disease Control by providing genome sequencing machines. The new Health Minister, Mr. Mansukh Mandavia, has said the centre will provide 15,000 crore rupees and the states will have to spend the remaining 8,123 crore rupees to end with that full budget of 23,123 crore rupees. India reported in the meantime 43,393 COVID cases in the last 24 hours, 911 deaths. According to the Union Health Ministry, daily new cases continued to show a decline. There's been an 8% decline in the number of new cases from last week to this week. 80% of the new cases reported are from 90 districts. They've also said that COVID cases are coming primarily right now from Kerala, which accounts for 32% of the new cases, and Maharashtra, which accounts for 21% of the new cases. Uttar Pradesh has reported 2 cases of the Kappa variant of COVID. Remember, alpha, beta, gamma, Kappa. According to PTI, the additional Chief Secretary Health, Amit Mohan Prasad, has said earlier there were cases of this variant that were found in the state. There's nothing to worry about, he said. This is a variant of coronavirus and treatment is possible. The WHO classified the Kappa variant as a variant of interest. Now, in a recent study, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the ICMR, has stated that Covaxin is very effective against Kappa as well as the beta and the delta variants of the coronavirus. According to Oxford University, AstraZeneca, or Covishield as we know it in India, is also very effective against this variant. On a positive note for Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech, the WHO chief scientist Soumya Swaminathan, in a statement to CNBC, has said the final phase trial of Covaxin data looks good and meets the safety profile of WHO. Dr. Soumya Swaminathan went on to say that even as Covaxin's efficacy data against the Delta variant is a bit low, the overall efficacy of the vaccine is quite high. According to analysis report, Covaxin demonstrates 93.4% effectiveness against severe symptomatic COVID cases and 65.2% protection against the Delta variant, which first originated in India. According to a report in NDTV, Dr. N.K. Arora, who heads the National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration, has said vaccination for children will start by September with the Zydus vaccine for 12 to 18-year-olds. He also said emergency use authorization for the Zydus vaccine will come within weeks, which will be a follow-up with Covaxin. In a first meeting with cabinet ministers, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has told cabinet ministers that the COVID threat is far from over. He went on to say that many other nations are seeing surges in infection and the virus is mutating. He said that over the last few days, we've been seeing pictures and videos of crowded places, people roaming about without masks or social distancing. It's not a pleasant sight. It should instill a sense of fear in us, he said. And this is really this one particular video that made a lot of people really uncomfortable. A viral video of hundreds of tourists in the Kempty Falls in Mussoorie flouting rules. They were all in the water together, not wearing any masks, and that was really worrying. Uttarakhand has now announced that they have capped the limit to 50 tourists in that particular tourist area who cannot stay longer than 30 minutes each. According to ANI, a checkpost will be set up in the area to monitor tourist activity. Remember, Dr. V.K. Paul called it revenge travel, where people are trying to time their holidays based on the waves. And so everybody is out right now hoping that they can catch that window between second and third wave. He really advised people not to do this. An update now from the world of business and economy. The Chamber of Trade and Industry on Thursday asked the centre to bring petrol and diesel under the ambit of GST to bring down the fuel rates. This comes after the cost of petrol now has crossed 100 rupees a litre in almost all of our big cities. In the statement, the Chamber of Trade and Industry has said, and I quote, "Crude oil was the cheapest in the last 16 years during 2020-2021. During COVID, between March and May 2020, crude oil became even cheaper and the central government increased excise duty on petrol by 13 rupees a litre and diesel by 16 rupees a litre. It's also noted that the dealer price of petrol in Delhi is 40 rupees 62 paise per litre. So that's the actual price of the fuel. Central government taxes is 32 rupees and 90 paise. State government taxes is 23 rupees, while dealer commission is 3 rupees 60 paise. So effectively, in the city of Delhi, which is paying now 100 rupees per litre of petrol, 56 rupees is tax, and only the rest of it is actually the fuel. On to now some news coming in from across the world. The Taliban has now claimed control of 85% of the territory of Afghanistan. This comes just hours after US President Joe Biden issued a staunch defense for the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan. Now, since the mid of April, President Joe Biden announced the end of Afghanistan's forever war. The Taliban has made strides throughout the country. They've swept through several districts and taken control of it. Over the last week, they seized the border crossings with Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and on Thursday with Iran. And on to an update now from the world of sports. The organizing committee of the Tokyo Olympics has announced that the upcoming games in Tokyo will be held without any spectators. This comes after Japan has declared a state of emergency because of COVID. Japan Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga has said, quoting him, that taking into consideration the impact of the Delta strain and in order to prevent a resurgence of infection from spreading across the country, we need to step up virus prevention measures. Tokyo 2020 President Shiko Hashimoto has apologized to people who bought tickets for those events. And finally, one piece of positive news before we leave you for today. Zaila Avant-Garde has become the first African American to win the prestigious Scripps National Spelling Bee competition. The 14-year-old also won a cash prize of $50,000. She holds 3 Guinness World Records for her ability to dribble multiple basketballs at the same time. Indian Americans 12-year-old Chitra Tumala and 13-year-old Bhavana Madini won the second and the third place respectively. That brings us to the end of this edition of Just the News. Thank you so much for listening. We, of course, are going to leave you with one quiz question. This is the quiz question. Uttar Pradesh has now discovered a new variant of the coronavirus. What is this variant called? Leave us your answer at the bottom of this video, and we'll come around and say hello to those people who get it right. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.